Hello, family, and welcome back. This is Tim, back with another Revelation episode for verse by verse. Revelation, the first chapter, verse 10, explain. Okay, John encountering Yahweh on the Lord's day. Okay, so if you look at this verse reminds me of the rapture, the church being caught up. Before I get into that, I want to go ahead and express gratitude. Heavenly Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for my family, my loved ones. Thank you for those that are saved. Thank you for the saints. I'm praying for those that are lost, that they receive salvation before it is too late. All right, family. So in this verse here, this verse reminds me of Revelation, the fourth chapter, verses 1 and 2, where John is experiencing an out-of-body experience. And we know in this verse here, Revelation 1 and 10, this is the first verse to where John experiences being in a spiritual body. Okay. So it talks about John being in the spirit on the Lord's day. In fact, I remember a long time ago when I used to live in Irving, Texas, this church I used to go to, and this pastor came and he spoke on this very verse, and I remember it, and I love that sermon that he gave. How he talked about John being in the spirit on the Lord's day. And we, as the saints of God, will also experience that, whether we are alive and remain, or if we're in the grave, we will also will be caught up when the trumpet sounds. Isn't that something? How John had this encounter, this experience with Christ. So we're going to have a similar experience, okay? Just that John, he was alive. He was in prison on the Isle of Patmos, and then he experienced being caught up into the Spirit. He experienced. Okay, so I want to take a moment to explore Second Corinthians, the 12th chapter, verse 2, where Paul had an experience. He said, let's just go over there real quickly, just kind of briefly read some of it. He said, whether in the body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. He said, Yahweh knoweth, such an one caught up to the third heaven. So he's just sharing his experience. Okay. And so we see over here the same with the apostle John and his experience, how he was caught into heaven to meet Christ. Because in order for you to behold Yahweh or to experience that, you have to be in the spirit. You cannot have that experience in a natural fleshly body. Okay. And so a lot of people, when it comes to Revelation, the fourth chapter, verses 1 and 2, I know a lot of people equate that, or scholars equate that to the rapture of the church being caught up to heaven in Revelation, the fourth chapter, verse 1, because after Revelation, the third chapter, the churches or the church is no longer mentioned any longer. Okay. So again, I just want to share this with you, this video with you guys about how the Apostle John had his experience, his encounter with Christ, how he was caught up into the Spirit, and how he heard the voice of Christ as if it was a trumpet. Again, the church will have a similar call as well when the trumpet sound. Yahweh is going to send Yeshua, Christ, to call the church home to Him, and we'll be witnessing to that in person. Those of us that are saved. And so, family, I just want to share this with you. I'll be back with another revelation, verse by verse Bible study. But I just want to share this with you again. The book of Revelation, the fifth chapter, is pretty awesome once you get into the experience that John has once he's caught up to heaven and the things that he actually witnesses and sees in heaven. He begins to see the heavenly host, and he also begins to have a futuristic experience, meaning that he sees also in heaven the church. He sees what's going to happen during the great tribulation. So Christ called John to have this experience. He was chosen to have this experience, and what a wonderful experience. His experience is also similar to that of Daniel, but uh, but we'll get more into that. I just want to share this video with you guys. God bless you. Again, if you want to experience salvation, Romans 10, chapter verses 9 and 10, read those, confess with your mouth and believe with your heart, and you shall be saved. That God has raised a Christ from the dead, you will experience salvation. Okay? So, family, thank you for listening, and I'll be back with another revelation, verse by verse. Revelation, the first chapter, verse 11 will be the next study, and then we'll kind of actually get into John, what he actually saw when he beheld Christ. Is very neat. I actually love Revelation, the first chapter, especially from verses 11 on down to verse 20, because you begin to see the interaction with Yeshua Christ and what John the Revelator actually saw in his experience. Okay. All right. So, family, remember, I'm praying for you guys. Have a blessed and wonderful day, and we'll see you. Okay. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Take care. Love you guys.